Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of Classic Gamer 74. I'm your host Anthony Gamer. Oh yeah, hi everyone, I'm Mumford. And in today's episode we're going to be discussing rare and valuable games for the Atari 5200. The Atari 5200 had a very short shelf life. That's correct, it only ran for 2 years. 1982 was the year it started, and 1984 was the year it was discontinued. With that in mind, there were not many games for the system, and as we'll find out in other episodes, there were actually quite a few prototypes. That's correct. With that in mind, there really weren't a lot of rare and valuable games, since there weren't many games to choose from. As a matter of fact, in today's episode, we're going to talk about the top 5 most rare and valuable games. The criteria for these rare and valuable games are that they start at around $40 loose. That's correct. Now, many of you know that are collectors out there, many of you know that just about anything that is still in the package is sometimes can be valuable. Right. And with that in mind, it would be kind of, pointless in a lot of ways to actually base this list on things that are still in the package because, like I said, they may be valuable regardless. Before we get started, I know many of you are probably watching this from home and unfortunately because of the coronavirus are probably not out and about as much as used to be. Yep, that's right. So, everyone that is watching this, please make sure that you do adhere to the many precautions that have been put out by the CDC. And so while you're at home and you're not doing much, maybe you'd like to binge watch some of our episodes. Yeah, Anthony organized them all by playlist, so you can check out the AVP Arcade vs. Port. Yeah, you can check out the sports games, the special edition ones, some of the interviews I did. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. Yep, so head over to our homepage that you can click on down at the bottom. Subscribe, of course, while you're there if you haven't already, and check out the playlists and binge watch some of our past episodes. Alright, with that taken care of, you ready to continue? Yep. Alright, so let's get started with the top 5 most valuable Atari 5200 games.
And at number 5, we have H.E.R.O. from 1984 from Activision, programmed by John Van Ryzen. Okay, now the 2600 version of H.E.R.O. was very well known. We actually reviewed it on a previous episode. I did show clips from the 5200 version, but the 2600 version is probably the one most of you are familiar with. In this game, you take on the role of the hero, and he is going into the mines to rescue some miners. He has a jet helicopter, a laser, and dynamite. So you are trying to see how many of the miners you can rescue and how far you can go in each level, and of course trying to build up your points. As much of a big hit as the 2600 version was, the 5200 version came out in 1984, which was towards the end of the 5200's life and right around the time of the video game crash of 83 and 84. With that in mind, this game is a little bit on the rare side. If you're able to find the game in just the cartridge, it'll run you about $40, and still in the package will be about $140. And next up at number 4, we have Montezuma's Revenge from 1984 from Parker Brothers. Alright, in Montezuma's Revenge, you take on the role of Panama Joe, and you're going deep into the Aztec ruins trying to find keys and treasure and all that other fun stuff. Kind of a difficult game if you ask me. Anyway, it is a bit on the rare side, as it was a late release. If you want to find it just in cartridge, it'll set you back about $40. And if you find it in the package, it'll run you about $160. Thank you, Mumford. And at the number 3 spot, we have Quest for Quintana. This was put out by a small company called Sunrise Software. Now, I did review this on a previous episode, so look at the link in the description below to check that out. And now this game is a lot of fun. It's an adventure / platform / quest type game. In this one, you take on the role of this explorer, and you are going to Quintana Roo on the Yucatan Peninsula looking for treasure. In this one, you also get to utilize all the buttons on the 5200 controller as you switch around from the gun view, this view where you're trying to find a switch on the wall, all the way to a view where you throw grenades. Really fun and involved and multi-layered game. Definitely one of my all-time favorites. However, the version for the 5200 is a little on the rare side. If you are able to find it on a cart alone, expect to pay around $40. However, if you are fortunate enough to find it still in the package, you are looking at somewhere around $200. And in the number 2 position, we have Meteorites. This game was released in 1983 and was the only game made by a company called Electra Concepts. This game looks a little on the familiar side. Well, it probably should, because it's pretty much asteroids. Alright, I got a question. What's that? Why didn't Atari just release their own Asteroids game? It's their game. Well, they actually were going to. As a matter of fact, Asteroids was going to be the launch title for the 5200. Okay, so what happened to Asteroids, and why are we playing this generic kind of homebrew, more or less, version of it? It's actually a pretty long story. We really don't have time to get into it on this video. If you're interested, the best place to go for any stories behind prototypes is AtariProtos.com. Now, as this game was not mass-produced, as it was made by a small third-party company, this game is a little on the rare side. Just a loose cart alone will run you about $90. Now, if you are able to find it in the package, it will run you around $225. And the number 1 rarest and most valuable Atari 5200 game is Bounty Bob Strikes Back. From 1984, from Big 5 Software, programmed by Bill Hogue with graphics by Chris Michalowski. Now, many of you are probably familiar with Miner 2049er. That was a game that we reviewed in a Anthony reviewed in a previous episode, and you can find the link in the description below. Now, this game is a sequel to that game. Bill Hogue, the programmer, actually learned to program while he was working at Radio Shack. Right you are. And like the first game, Miner 2049er, you take on the role of Bounty Bob, and you are looking for Yukon Cornelius. And while you are deep in these mines, you are trying to fill in all these lines and stop these little creatures that you actually eat when you pick up the weapons or those different things that you see on each platform. Now, unlike Miner 2049er, that kind of eases you into the game, this one starts off hard on the very first level. But it's a whole lot of fun and very addictive, just like the original game. Now, when Miner 2049er was released for the Atari 2600, they actually had to release it on 2 separate cartridges because the game was that big. And at that time, it wasn't possible to fit that much data on one single cartridge. That's right, and even though the first cartridge was pretty easy to find and, most people had it, the second game was actually pretty rare. Now, it's kind of the same deal here with Bounty Bob Strikes Back. Just finding a loose cart will run you about $500. That's right, Mumford. Now, if you are one of the few people that is able to locate this game in the package, you should expect to pay around $950. Yikes.
Also, another important thing I wanted to mention is that if you're buying these games online, please be very careful and look out for fraudsters. Yeah, because, there are some people that can put these games on a cart and pass it off as the original. Right, so if a deal seems too good to be true, it probably is. So for more information on some of the games that you may see online, the best place to go is to the AtariAge.com forums. Go into the AtariAge.com forums, join up, and then head over to the Atari 5200 section where you'll find a lot of experts, honest experts, that will be able to let you know and help you. Well, that brings us to the end of another episode of Classic Gamer 74. I really hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, you know what to do. Give us a great big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to click that little bell icon down there at the bottom so you'll be notified when we upload new episodes.
In our next episode, we're going to be discussing Laserdisc arcade games. Do you remember these? If you do or don't, you're really not going to want to miss next week's episode.
Okay, put your hand out. I hate that stuff. Well, you need to use hand sanitizer. You don't want to get sick, do you? No, and you don't want to possibly spread the sickness to someone else. No. Okay, well, you got to put it on your hands. Fiddle spaddle. Anyway. Well, until next time, this has been Anthony Gamer, and I'm Mumford, and we will see you all in the next episode. Until then, take care of yourselves, take the necessary precautions, and we will see you all in the next episode. Until then, have yourselves a great day. Goodbye. Goodbye, everyone. All right, stick your hand out.